Have you ever sat there just staring at your terminal, waiting on a sluggish response, and wondering why your current tech stack seems to be, well, dragging its feet? If you work in Python, you've probably asked yourself at some point, is this really as fast as it gets? Well, what if I told you that your Python API could actually run just as fast as Node.js or Go? What if the bottleneck isn't the Python language itself, but the framework you're using to build it?
Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're looking at a framework that is absolutely transforming how developers build interfaces. It's called FastAPI. If you're focused on building modern, high-performance web applications, you are definitely in the right place. Let's unpack exactly what makes it so powerful using our core source material.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the need for speed.
And that brings us right to Section 2, unpacking FastAPI's superpowers.
So what is it exactly? FastAPI is an open-source web framework used for building APIs with Python 3.6 and above. Its whole goal is to give you a simple, intuitive way to create RESTful APIs that are blazingly fast and easy to maintain. But the real secret sauce here is what it's built upon. It relies on a tool called Starlet to handle all the complex web mechanics, so things like routing and web requests. Then, it relies on Pydantic to do all the heavy lifting for data validation, using standard Python type hints. By combining these two distinct powerhouses, it delivers just incredible performance.
Let's rapidly fire through its core features. First up, high performance. Again, literally rivaling Node.js and Go. Second, it has asynchronous support. This means it allows for non-blocking code. Think of it like a highly efficient restaurant kitchen. While the system waits for a heavy database query to finish, it doesn't just hang there. It's already handling other incoming HTTP requests, effortlessly juggling thousands of concurrent connections. On top of that, FastAPI uses type hints for data validation, so it ensures the data coming in is exactly the right format, every single time. It also features a really powerful dependency injection system, meaning you can easily define and manage reusable components. And finally, security is baked right in. You get out-of-the-box support for OAuth 2 and JSON Web Tokens to easily protect your sensitive data.
Now, I want to slow down for just a second to emphasize one of its absolute standout features. FastAPI eliminates so much manual work by automatically generating interactive API documentation for you. It does this by leveraging industry standards like OpenAPI, which, by the way, you might know by its former name, Swagger, alongside JSON schema. I mean, if you're a developer, you know the unique misery of having to manually update your docs every single time you tweak a route in your code. This feature completely eliminates that pain.
And this quote brilliantly illustrates exactly why that matters. The source text notes, FastAPI's automatic documentation makes it easier for developers to test and interact with their APIs, ultimately improving productivity. Just imagine the time saved here. You write your code, and instantly a clean, interactive web page is generated. You, your front-end team, or your external users can actually go in, test the endpoints, send requests, and see the exact shape of the data coming back, all in real time.
Moving right along to Section 3, why developers love it.
The real-world benefits here are practically impossible to ignore. Developer productivity absolutely skyrockets because having that automatic documentation combined with type hints means you are spending significantly less time debugging and testing. This naturally improves your overall code quality, too. By enforcing those type hints through Pydantic, developers naturally write cleaner, more reliable code that validates complex nested data structures without breaking a sweat, which means way fewer runtime errors for you. Add in that asynchronous scalability that can handle everything from a tiny microservice all the way up to a massive enterprise application, and your iteration cycles become so much faster. It just makes collaboration incredibly smooth.
All right, let's look at the competition in Section 4, FastAPI versus the alternatives.
Let's walk through this comparative table together to see how things stack up. Django, for instance, is an incredible framework, but it's heavily tailored for full-stack web applications. It comes with a lot of built-in overhead that you simply might not need if you're just trying to build an API, and it definitely doesn't do autodocs out of the box. Then you have Tornado, which is great for concurrency and does support asynchronous features, but it lacks the modern ease of use and the automatic documentation that FastAPI provides. And then, of course, there's Flask, which brings us to a very interesting direct recurrency.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between old architectures and new demands. Flask has been the go-to for lightweight APIs for years. However, historically, Flask is a synchronous framework. FastAPI, on the other hand, gives you built-in asynchronous programming right out of the box, offering vastly better performance for real-time data processing. Plus, Flask fundamentally lacks the automatic interactive documentation that makes FastAPI such a massive productivity powerhouse. So, how do we actually get going? Let's hit Section 5, Getting Started today.
I want to guide you through these 3 remarkably straightforward steps, just to show you how easy it is. Step 1. Just install it using pip. You're going to install FastAPI and an ASGI server called Uvicorn. So in your terminal, that's just pip install FastAPI Uvicorn. Step 2. Write your code. You import FastAPI, initialize your app, and define your async routes. A simple add_app.get over an async function that returns a dictionary saying hello world is literally all it takes. Step 3. Run the server. You just type uvicorn main:\app_reload into your terminal. That reload flag is fantastic for development because it automatically updates your server every single time you save your code. And remember, using Uvicorn, which is an incredibly fast ASGI server, is the highly recommended path for both testing on your local machine and for your actual production deployments on cloud services like AWS or Azure.
So, the absolutely crucial point to take away from this explainer is that FastAPI represents a massive leap forward for developers. By combining modern Python type hints with high-performance, non-blocking asynchronous capabilities, it gives you a robust, highly reliable toolset. It handles all that tedious documentation for you, it validates your data automatically, and it runs with blinding speed. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to think about. With speed, autodocs, and async support completely built in, what will you build next with FastAPI? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get out there, write some code, and I'll see you next time.